Good morning, everybody. It's Carolyn here, holistic anxiety coach, and I wanted to hop on today to talk about why you don't necessarily want to move away from your anxiety. What? Doesn't sound like it makes sense, right? Before I get started, I want to just take a second to share this into my group. And if you're not yet a member of the closed group, go to my page and click on the sign up button to request membership. All right, so let me share this to my group. Okay. All right. And then I like to go to my group to be able to see what's going on. People comment there. There we go. All right, so before I get started, oh, I gotta mute that. Okay. Anyways, this sounds like it doesn't make sense, right? Because our initial instinct is to move away from our anxiety, avoid it at all costs, right? It doesn't feel good. It's really uncomfortable. We just want to make those symptoms go away. And so we always tend to be kind of looking for the next quick fix, the next pillar supplement, the next, or we exercise a lot, yoga. I mean, it's not necessarily all bad things, right? Deep breathing and all these things. So some of them are good, or we might do turn to drugs or alcohol to anything to try to make those uncomfortable symptoms go away, right? Some of those things are good and they can absolutely be helpful. I'm not saying don't do your deep breathing exercises. I'm not saying don't do your exercise or your nutrition or your supplements or anything like that. What I'm saying is that overall, if you want to have long-term results in eliminating the struggle you have with anxiety, we can't follow that initial instinct and move away and avoid. The more you move away and avoid, the more that it will just dig down deeper. It will gain power over you. It will grow stronger. And that's not what we want, right? We don't want a bigger problem. And as the problem becomes bigger, the more we tend to think about it and focus on it and try to solve it and look for, you know, what's going to work. I know, I've been there, done that, right? And I always thought, I'm pretty smart. Why can't I figure this out? Why isn't this stuff working? And some of this stuff would work short term, and I'd have some improvement. But then always over time, I would have a return of that anxiety. And I was like, what in the world? I guess maybe I'm just supposed to, this is just the way I am. I just have to be this way. But that's not the case. And actually, I was just listening to this really interesting podcast, and they talked about what was it called? Let me see what it was called. It was super interesting. And I've already talked about neuroplasticity, but epigenetics, really interesting. It just basically is saying how science is showing that your genetics is not a determining factor on everything. Basically how you can have those genes turned on or off. That's kind of epigenetics. And so even if you genetically are predisposed to anxiety, that does not mean that you have to have that gene turned on. And so how do we kind of turn it off? So anyways, the more that we can kind of in a way move toward our anxiety by facing it, digging down deep and doing the work to discover what habits and behaviors are driving that anxiety, what mindsets are driving that anxiety, that's where you're really going to get the long-term true results and that lasting change that you're looking for. And it's not the quick and easy fix, right? and can we use those things that just help the symptoms temporarily while we're going through this? Absolutely. Is that going to support our journey? Absolutely. However, you know, I really recommend partnering with someone that's been through it, a coach like myself, or a different coach, or maybe a therapist that you know that's been through it, that's been down in the trenches, that knows what it's like, that has tried all of the things and can really help you see what can work and what can't. So it's super valuable to do that. Because your mindset is what really needs to change, and you need to rewire your brain, and those things take time, and it takes digging down deep and kind of facing that anxiety. And along with that, we don't want to just move towards facing our anxiety. We want to move towards what we want. So it's not just trying to escape what we don't want. The second part of that will be moving towards what we do want, okay? That's what's going to give you that motivation, that strength to push forward and maybe edge up against some of that anxiety and deal with some of that anxiety as you're going along the journey. However, when I'm thinking about moving towards what I want, what I try to think about when I'm having those moments where, you know, I'm sitting in reflection, I think, what were the times in my life that I had the least amount of anxiety, and what was different? Because those of you that already know me know that I've dealt with some level of anxiety on and off since as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid, right? So those times that I had the least amount of anxiety, what was different for me? That's going to help you to determine what areas of your life that you really need to work on, right? So for me, that was times where I felt really secure. Okay, I'm super sensitive to not feeling safety and so times in my life where I was having change, starting something new, wasn't around that safe place. That's always kind of been like a trigger for me. And so I also like to think about what times in my life did I feel the things that were really calming, that maybe were more in my control. So when I worked out at a 4-H camp, you know, when I was going through college in the summers. So much fun, such a great tribe I was a part of with all those fellow staffers, and that was really supportive of me. Feeling like I really had a place where I really belonged, and I had so much fun out there with those people in those summers, and so that was part of it. Another part of it was like we were basically living outside. I mean, yes, we had like very rustic cabins, but there was no like air conditioning. There was just like it was, you know, you had bugs and mice and all the things in your room, right? You slept in a sleeping bag on a little mattress. I mean, you had to walk outside to go use the open air bathrooms, but it was so much fun. I mean, I just spent the whole summer pretty much outside. So whenever I've been outside in nature, that's been really helpful for me. So that's something I make note of and make use of. Even earlier than that, like, you know, I remember going down to the creek when I was in high school, and going to the waterfalls. I mean, just some great times that I felt like me. So those are the kind of things you want to think of. When did I feel most like me? What do I need to be moving towards? What do I need more of? Because as we grow up, I guess, right? Our lives get so full of the have tos, and sometimes it's kind of like we lose touch with who we really are inside. And when we lose touch with that, that's going to create anxiety or depression or some kind of, it's going to surface in some kind of way. So we need to get back in touch with those things that make you you, where you just feel most aligned, most yourself. So I always love to think about those kinds of things. And sometimes when I'm feeling kind of anxious, I'll just think on, you know, visualize those things, because right now it's hard to get outside for long around where I'm at because it's cold. Not been a nice weather the last month or two for getting outside. But yeah, so like that tribe and the outside, fishing up the creek on a summer day. I mean, all those things, I mean, were always super soothing to me, and having that support. I think I already said that. Anyways, okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to pop on and discuss that. I am taking, excuse me, at a point where I'm taking new one-on-one clients. So if you're interested in seeing if we'd be a good fit to work together, I do a free discovery session, and it's about 45 minutes to an hour long. And I will put the link to my calendar in the comments if that's something you are interested in exploring. So I will talk to y'all later. Take care now. Bye-bye.